all the messaging that put out the NFL is gay, football is gay. And Des Bryant reacted to this. Des Bryant, the former Cowboys wide receiver, former NFL wide receiver. Let's first play the NFL is gay. It's kind of, do we have the NFL? Yeah, the NFL football is gay promo. It's kind of old, but Des reacted to it again yesterday, as well he should, because this insanity, he's like, the entire corporate America is going one direction, and he's looking at the National Football League and these other sports leagues double down and lean in to this rainbow garbage. And Des is bothered by it. But let's first play the NFL is gay or football is gay promo. Play the clip. What are we doing? It's an obvious question. What are we doing? Des Bryant, and I salute him. Aaron Rodgers last week, he had a comment, but first let me repeat Des Bryant's comments over Twitter. Football is gay, football is queer, football is transgender. These are wild statements to make. Excuse my silliness. I'm going to proudly tell my boys football is none of these things. I have nothing against gays, but this is far from right. This is common sense. And Des goes on to say, look, there are gay players in the NFL, but forcing it in people's faces, especially children, can send the wrong message. Football is a real community like the gay community. Imagine telling gays they have to advocate for straight people. They probably would have a problem. This is Des Bryant, just common sense, emoting and flowing from his Twitter feed. Aaron Rodgers last week had a comment about this whole trans women thing. This is all just common sense. Let's play Aaron Rodgers' shot number 3.
The trans women movement is actually anti-woman.
100%, especially when it comes to sports. 100%.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sports. Yeah. You're not seeing trans men dominating anything.
No.
It's because there's a biological difference.
Well, it's also a problem because if you're a trans man, now you have to take testosterone, which is banned. You can't take it.
That's
so
true.
are you going to let them take it and you won't let older athletes take it? That sounds crazy.
Because it is. That is Aaron Rodgers and Joe Rogan making complete common sense. And because I'm a football guy, primarily, when it's not WNBA season, because I'm a football guy. This NFL thing makes no sense, but I want to explain it to you why it does make sense, and I want to connect it to the conversation we were having yesterday about Glenn Greenwald. These things are all connected. And again, this is why I love to talk about sports, because you can understand the rest of the world. We're living in the era and the age of blackmail. And maybe we've always lived in the era and age of blackmail. But now everyone and even institutions are being blackmailed. TJ Moe asked me this morning when we were talking about today's show, like, hey, what do you, it was either TJ or it was John Hanley, but I can't remember. Hey, what do you think is driving this, the NFL? And I was like, well, they've been blackmailed. And they have. And many of you, when I say this, you go, oh, there you go with your tinfoil hat, you conspiracy theorist, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. You're a joke, Whitlock. I'm also right. The NFL has been blackmailed by the concussion controversy. The manufactured concussion controversy has Roger Goodell and the National Football League and their ownership group on their knees. The mainstream legacy media drove this concussion narrative and focused all this attention on head injuries in the National Football League as a way of pressuring the NFL which is the leader of all American sports, which is the tastemaker for all of American sports, which everybody plays, follow the leader as it relates to the NFL. And so if they can leverage the NFL to adopt all the woke, leftist, Marxist agenda and messaging, how can we get the NFL on board with Black Lives Matter? How can we get the NFL on board with the LGBTQIA+ silent P alphabet mafia? We keep distorting and focusing in on concussions in the media, and then we offer them, hey, we'll back off the concussion conversation. We know we've created and manufactured this whole deal. We'll back off of it if you'll hop on board with the BLM, LGBTQIA+, silent P alphabet mafia. And that's what has happened. In order for the media to quit focusing on, oh, look at these hitters, look at these hard hits. They've been having hard hits in football and in life, in boxing, in all these male competitive combat sports forever. They chose to focus on it as a way of leveraging and pressuring and blackmailing the NFL to get on board with the rest of the Marxist marketing. It's worked. You'll never get me, and I have people that I know that play football and seem to be suffering from some sort of head-related trauma issues. And I say seem to be. But you'll never get me on board with this whole CTE deal. Well, we can't diagnose it until you die. Once you die, then we can look at your brain and tell you if you have CTE. And every single person we look at that played football that dies, we then diagnose them with CTE. I believe the doctor, and I can't think of his name, but I watched the Will Smith movie, whatever the doctor's name is. I believe they chose, and I'm sorry for saying this, but it's just factual. It's my opinion. It's my honest opinion. They chose a black African doctor so that if you question the CTE discovery, you could then be accused of racism. This whole CTE thing is a hoax, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't have the facts to prove it, but it's my opinion. Men have been playing football, a much less safe version of football, for 100 years. And it wasn't until the last 20, 30 years that we discovered that all of them have CTE and they're all going to die this horrible CTE death. And it doesn't matter that Terry Bradshaw is sitting on TV in his 70s, having played in one of the most violent eras in the National Football League in the history of football, but he's in his late, mid-70s, still on TV talking football. Troy Aikman's had a dozen concussions. He's still on TV talking football. All these people, all these guys, all these old guys, from Dick Butkus, didn't he just pass away? But any of these guys that played football in these most violent eras. Jim Brown, friend of mine, died in his 80s, had a sharp mind all the way up until his death. But everybody's got CTE that played football, and football is the most dangerous sport. And they did it to stir up enough public backlash that former NFL players who took the bait, and it's just human nature. They're looking at all the money the current players are making now, and they're jealous. And they figured out, you know what, if we sue over this CTE stuff, we can get a piece of this change that we missed out on. And so they damaged the NFL by suing over this CTE stuff, getting millions of dollars and more money because they feel entitled. They're no different. Again, this entitlement, victim mentality has even affected football players. And I pointed this out years ago when people were all, reparations, they shouldn't have reparations, and only black people want reparations. I said, what about these former NFL players? They want reparations. Hey, we built the NFL. Oh, who says we built America? Oh, black people say that. Oh, we built America and we're owed X, Y, and Z. What did former NFL players say? Oh, we built the NFL and we're owed X, Y, and Z. And don't you understand the suffering we've gone through with CTE? We're owed millions of dollars. And so they sued, and all this public sentiment was on their side, and they won their lawsuit, or they won a settlement from the NFL. But the media, if the NFL didn't bend over for the alphabet mafia, everything the New York Times and the legacy media would be talking about, ESPN would be concussions. And eventually, because they know they've soured some people on even watching the National Football League, and they've certainly soured them on watching real football. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.